It has been decided. We had feared that this was going to happen. Now it has been announced. President Obama is moving where he's going to accept the Democratic Party's nomination. So where is it going to be? Well, President Obama will be accepting his party's nomination at Bank of America Field in North Carolina. I cannot imagine worse symbolism. The reason I can't imagine it is because there is no Goldman Sachs Stadium. But other than that, Bank of America has got about as reputation, well-earned, well-deserved as anyone in the country. And President Obama, who has been fighting for the banks all along, will accept the nomination in Bank of America Stadium. Now, some of the news reports tell you that it's because they want to do it in a larger venue. The head of the DNC, Deborah Wasserman Schultz, says there's so many people that come to the convention. We wanted all of them to be able to attend. That's why we're doing it outdoors, as we did last time in Denver. I'm sure that some of that is true, but I've also read a report that they wanted more luxury boxes for their top donors. That's part of the reason that they moved it to Bank of America Stadium. Okay, now, if it was just symbolism, you'd say, well, what can they do? They were going to do it in North Carolina. The stadium nearby happens to be Bank of America. And, you know, North Carolina is an important swing state. He barely won last time. I understand all that, right? But it's not just symbolism. It's also reality. The President Obama is about to unveil his budget. And he had been saying all along, hey, you know what? Don't worry, this year I'm actually going to be a progressive, and I'm going to prioritize adding jobs over cutting spending and cutting our deficit. Now, that's what he'd been promising, because he likes to talk while, you know, campaigning as a so-called progressive. What's he going to do? Is he going to walk the walk? Well, his budget's about to come out. So what is the White House doing? They are, according to The Hill, going to different progressive groups and Democratic legislators and telling them, prepare to get disappointed. Quoting The Hill here, top White House officials are warning liberal and labor leaders to brace themselves for President Obama's budget proposal, because apparently it is going to be fairly devastating. There's going to be more spending cuts. It is going to definitely be less than the budget that he proposed last year, which a lot of progressives were understandably mad at. In fact, some of the African-American leaders in Congress said that it was taking away power from the powerless already. Peter Welch, Democrat of Vermont, said people would literally freeze given the cuts that they were making to home heating oil. Head of the Congressional Black Caucus, Emmanuel Cleaver, said, we cannot win the future by leaving our most vulnerable behind. That was about last year's budget. This year's budget apparently is going to be more draconian, worse cuts. So they're doing the politically savvy move of letting liberal leaders know whether they're legislators or not. Are there any liberal leaders left in the country? Who are they talking to? Anyway, they're going to tell them, oh, by the way, we were kidding about all that election talk. We're coming to screw you again. But we made a deal. Oh, but our hands are tied. We made a deal with the Republicans that we would cut spending like crazy in the middle of tough economic times. When we're trying to add jobs, what we're going to do instead is we're going to cut spending and cost us jobs. But we made a deal with the Republicans. But that's why I complained about your deal in the first place. That's why we said it was a bad idea to cut trillions of dollars in spending in the middle of tough economic times. And they say, oh, you libs, we're not going to listen to you. And now here they are, and they're saying, sad day for you. But they assure labor, don't worry, we're not going to cut the Department of Labor, including the Occupational Safety and Health Administration and Mine Safety Health Administration. I believe them. But then here's a fun part. They say, we will seek to preserve funding for the National Labor Relations Board. That means National Labor Relations Board, it was nice knowing you, okay? Will it be eliminated? That's probably way too strong. Will it be cut? Definitely. If they are seeking to preserve it, that means they'll say, oh, we were seeking to preserve it. Oh, but look, because of the Republicans, we couldn't quite preserve it in the shape that it was. Now, the Republicans, what have they been attacking the most? The National Labor Relations Board. So what's Obama going to do? As always, he's going to cave into them and say there was nothing he could do. It's not like he's the president of the United States or anything. Well, you know, there's one other thing they could do, a financial transaction tax, so that you wouldn't have to cut spending so much. You wouldn't cost us so many jobs. You wouldn't, and people who are already out of work or in bad shape, maybe they could have a little heating oil for the winter. No, we couldn't do that either. But wait a minute, what if you did the financial transaction tax that could pay for all this? So you take a tiny, tiny percentage for every transaction that the banks do. It lowers speculation, so it's actually a net positive, and it gives you the money that you need. Of course, President Obama's top economic advisors, who I've told you over and over again are deeply conservative, all pro-banker, just decided, golly gee willikers, no, we can't do a financial transaction tax. No, that would be too much to ask of the banks. Gene Sperling, the director of the National Economic Council, says that he's not interested in that at all. And they say, you know what, administration officials worry that Republicans could, I'm again quoting the Hill here, could frame the proposal as a tax on 401k retirement funds, potentially damaging election year charge. Yeah, when you do a transaction tax on the banks, the Republicans will claim you're doing it on the 401ks, and that's why you're not doing it. My ass, that's why you're not doing it. You're not doing it because you're wholly funded by the banks, because you're in the pocket of the banks just like the Republicans are. That's why you're not going to do a financial transaction tax that would be a tiny, tiny percentage, 0.03%. You're not going to do that. No, it would harm the banks just a little bit. You would never harm the banks. Well, you're going to do your speech, your acceptance speech at the Bank of America Stadium. You wouldn't want to offend Bank of America, pretending that you care about our 401ks, and that it would be damaging for your election if you did a tax on the banks. If you think that, you're the world's worst politician. But nobody can possibly think, oh, no, in this election climate, if we did a tiny tax on the banks, the American people would not be in favor of that. If you actually believe that, you're a joke as a politician. But you don't actually believe that. Your job is to protect the banks while pretending to be tough on them with historic financial reform. Go enjoy your speech at Bank of America Stadium, okay?